Welcome to my YouTube channel once again. Today I'll do a question on taxation, which is a specialized area, and this was done in December 2023, the last sitting. So I'll go through the question. So it was question number 25. Musemi, an electronics engineer, retired from active employment in early 2021. He set up a factory in Duka on 30th September 2021 to produce mechanical and auto spare parts at a cost of shillings 120 million. The factory commenced operations in January 2022. The cost of the factory comprised the following: we have factory building, we have office in bracket within the factory building, reinforcement of concrete floor to fix machinery, we have land, we have architect's fee, we have parking bay, we have electrical wiring, we have conveyor belt, we have lift and escalators, we have special subs for lifts, a total of 120 million. So additional structures and works constructed and utilized from 1st January 2022 were as follows. 1 is a residential house, 2 workplace nursery, 3 drawing and design room. They went further and said to improve performance in the factory, an Oracle database that provides cloud service was installed at a cost of shillings 1.125 million. The computers in the drawing and design room had a computer-aided design application installed at a cost of shillings 675,000. A building that had been constructed at a cost of shillings 30 million was leased from Salama Manufacturers Limited for 5 years. The annual lease rental was agreed at shillings 7 million. Musemi imported processing machinery from China at a cost of shillings 13 million and installed it in the building. 2 warehouses were constructed at a cost of shillings 5.625 and utilized from 1st September 2022. The following assets were purchased or constructed during the year. We have furniture and fittings, including shillings 550,000 for the workplace nursery, library fixtures stocked with mechanical engineering volumes 1.3. We have computers and electronic adding machines. We have motor vehicles, a second and BMW at 5.7. We have a lorry in bracket 4 tons at 7 million. We have tuk-tuk for the messenger at 450. Backhoe loader at 9.2. Additional processing machinery at 2,500 and mobile crane at 750. Required capital allowances due to Musemi for the end of 31st December 2022. Yeah, so this is what you have to observe. They say that it was set up, the factory was set up on 30th September 2021, but the factory commenced operation. So we always charge capital allowance when the expenditure is expense when the factory commenced operation, not when it was set up. So we'll only charge the capital allowance where there's operation. So we won't prorata, we won't factor in when the machine was set up. So we'll start. So our year 1 will be from January 2022 to 31st December 2022. So everything will start utilizing them in this when the year of operation. So I'll go straight away to the first capital allowance, and I'll start with the investment deductions. So I'll write there investment. Actions. So I'll start with the nature of the assets. So I'll write here nature assets. Yeah, then we'll have the qualifying cost. Qualifying. Then we'll have now the ID, which is the investment, the actual ID. we charge at 50% for the first year, then 25% on a reducing balance for the second year. So I'll say ID, and I'll just write there. So I'm just here residue. So from 2020, we have been charging 50% for ID. Residual. So I'll start with the first asset. And in this case, it will be the factory building. So just copy, click that, enter. Let me just extend this a little bit. The factory building. So the qualifying cost will be equals to, we were told that this factory building had an office. You know, office qualify for IBD. Yeah, if it's not above 10%. So what we'll do what we call the 10% test to identify if we'll deduct the cost of the office from the factory building. So this is what we do. I'll do it here. Let's say equals to 15. Yeah, that was the cost of the office because we are told office is housed within the factory building. So you do what we call the 10% test. So you'll divide by this to get the percentage. Yeah, so we'll have 0.33. Yeah, if you change this into percentage, that will be around 33.3%. Yeah, so it's more than 10%. So we'll have to deduct the cost of the office from the factory building. So the qualifying cost will be equals to this minus the office, the cost of the office, because it's more than 10%. Yeah, so what will qualify for investment deductions for ID will be 31 to 50. And this is how what we do. For ID, we say it's 50% for first year. Yeah, so we are in the first year because we began operations in the year 2022. So I'll take that, we just multiply by 50%. And I'll have 15, 625. So residual will be the difference. So I'll take this minus this. Yeah, the residual will be 15, 625. So our ID is 15 to 25. So the next item will be which qualify for ID will be reinforcement of concrete floor for fixed machinery. That's reinforcement. So I just copy it, just write reinforcement. Yeah, the qualifying cost is no adjustment. So the qualifying cost will be the 41.25. Yeah. And the ID will be 50% of this. So it will be that times 50%. So the residual value will be just this, because it's half of that. So you continue. The next item will be, you just follow the items the way they're listed. Land does not qualify for capital allowance. Land does not qualify for capital allowance. Architect's fee does not qualify for capital allowance. Parking bay, the next item will be parking bay. So we'll have parking bay. Let me copy it. So parking bay, the qualifying cost will be this one. Then the ID will be 50%. So 50% of this. Or you can just divide that by 2. 50%. Then the residual will be the difference between this, between qualifying cost and ID, which is now is the same as that. So the next item will be, we have the electrical wiring. No, wiring does not qualify for capital allowance. So we go to the next one, is the conveyor belt. Yeah, conveyor belt qualified for ID. So equals to conveyor belt. Yeah, the qualifying cost, there will be how much? The qualifying cost will be, just a minute. Yeah, the qualifying cost will be this, the conveyor belt. Then you take the 50% of that. ID. So it will be this multiplied by 50%. And the difference is the residual, which will be this. And then we continue. We look for another item which qualifies for ID. Then let's continue. We have lift and escalators, special house for lifts. Now this qualify for entire allowance. So we go to additional structures and work for structure and maintenance from January 2022 as follows. The residential house, no. Workplace nursery, no. Drawing and design room, no. In the same to improve performance, there was Oracle database. This is a software, so they want to qualify for ID. A building that had been constructed at a cost of 30 was leased from Salama for 5 years. Yeah, you only charge capital allowance. You just charge this was supposed to be charged, yeah, but you only charge it if you're the one who was leasing. Yeah. And then you lease rental. This is irrelevant. Then you go to imported processing machinery from China at a cost of 13 million and installed it in the building. Yeah. So that's processing machinery. So it qualifies for ID. Let's say processing machinery. So the qualifying cost was 13 million. If I'm not wrong, it was 13 million. So it would be 13,000 because we are working with the amount in thousand. So it would be 13,000. Then it's only 50% is the ID. So we take the 13 multiplied by 50%. So the residual will be the difference, which will be this. Then we go through, we look for another item which might qualify for ID. We go to the additional information. Now we are here. Then 2 warehouses were constructed here. This qualified for IBD, industrial building deductions. The following assets were purchased or constructed during the year. We have furniture, no. Library, computer, no. Motor vehicle, lorry, tuk-tuk, backhoe. Then we have additional processing machinery. Yeah, processing machinery qualifies for ID. Let's say additional processing machinery. Processing machinery. So the qualifying cost will be the amount. So it was 22,500. So just pick it. 22,500. So the ID will be 50% of this times 50%. So the difference will be this, yeah. So already copied, yeah? Yeah, so the difference will be, so that's the residual. So I think there's no any other item which could, yeah, it's over. Yeah, so we'll look at the total ID. Total ID just equals to sum. We just drag this one through. So we'll have 38. Yeah, this is also residual is also 38. So I'll pull the ID. Then I'll go to the next capital allowance. We use IBD, investment. Sorry, industrial building deduction. Yeah, so I'll go straight away and I'll look at the items which qualify. So I'll start with the nature of assets. Yeah, so we just use this. Let me go on the page here. Yeah, for the interest of time, I just use this the way they appear. So I'll just take the nature of assets. So I'll put the first asset here. So the first asset, I'll go to additional information. The first asset which will qualify is the workplace nursery. Residential house does not qualify for IBD. Yeah, because it's a residential house. It's not used for manufacturing. Yeah, so it doesn't qualify for capital allowance. So because we said capital allowance is granted on manufacturing. So the residential house will not be used for manufacturing. So the only item that will be the workplace nursery. So I just copy it. Sorry. Workplace nursery. Yeah, so the qualifying cost equals to that value. Yeah, and under IBD, you have to apportion when the machine was acquired. But we're told that this was acquired from January. That's why now we can't apportion. So I just pick the value the way it is. And that's now the qualifying cost. So here we'll have the industrial, the IBD. So the IBD is charged at the rate of 10%. So it's charged at the rate of 10%. So I just say equals to, sorry. So just say equals to 3,000 times 10%. So that will be right. So the residual will be the difference between these two. And then I'll subtract that. So that will be the residual. So I'll go to the next item. Next item will be the drawing and design room. I'll just copy it. Say equals, then you just copy it. So the qualifying cost, the design of how much was 1,800. So I'll just make it where it is. Yeah, 8,000. So the IBD will be 10%. So I'll just take this and I multiply by 10%. Then the difference, let me see if I can drag this and if it copy the formula. No, not yet. So I'll just do the difference. Okay, 1,800 minus 180. I'll get 1,620. Yeah, so the next item will be, let me see the next item that qualifies for IBD. That this does not qualify. These two warehouses were constructed at a cost of 56.25 and utilized from 1st September. So because they were utilized from 1st September, we look at the period when the items were in use. So you start from 1st September all the way to 31st December. So this is what you do. Come and say equals to, let me just say the warehouse. They were constructed. So the qualifying cost, we're told that they were constructed at a cost of 56.25. So I just say equals to 56.25, but times they were utilized from 1st September. So we'll have September, October, November, then December. So those are 4 months. So it was only in use for 4 months. So we will take 4 over 12. Then the qualifying cost. So the qualifying cost here will be 1875. So the IBD will be 1875 times 10%. residual will be this less this. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all that qualifies for IBD. That's all that qualified for IBD because I don't see any other item that will qualify for IBD. So I go to the next capital allowance, which is the wear and tear allowance. So wear and tear allowance. Yeah, and on this one from 2020, they changed. They changed it. We only have class 1 and class 2. Yeah, they were reduced to class 1 and class 2. So I'll say here class 1. Yeah, so I just say for class 1, they charge 25%. And for class 2, they charge 10%. 10%. Class 1, 25%, class 2, 10%. So I'll start with the assets which qualify. So I'll go to the question. Yeah, and according to this, the item which will qualify will be lift and escalators will qualify for entire. So I'll just pick it, say lift and escalators. And then that's class 1. It's classified as plant and machinery, so it's class 1. So this is what I'll do. So I'll calculate it. I'll pick the value is 10,000. Then I'll multiply by the 25%. Yeah, to get the wear and tear allowance because it's class 1. Then I go to the next one. The next one will be, we go to the question. Special shaft for lifts. Yeah, this is also classified. This is also classified as class 1. So I'll pick this. It's under class 1. So we check 25%. So I'll check this and multiply by 25%. Then I'll go to the next one. Yeah, so I'll go to additional information. Additional information. Yeah, they're saying to improve performance in the factory, an Oracle database that provides cloud service was installed. Yeah, so this is a software was installed for 1125, and the computers are designed to provide a computer-aided CAD application of. So these are all application softwares. So I'll include them. So I'll say Oracle. Yeah, the amount was 1125. So I say equals to 1125. Then I'll multiply by the 25% for class 1 because it falls under class 1 because those are software. And then the next one is CAD. That one is CAD. Sorry. CAD. Yeah, so it also falls under class 1 with the software. So I'll pick the 675 because at the cost of 675, then I'll multiply by 25%. Multiply by 25%. Yeah, then the next item will be, I'll go and search. Yeah, there was no process, no. And then we also have the following assets were purchased. Right? So I'll start with furniture and fittings. And we are told including shillings 550 for the workplace nursery. So workplace nursery is already considered under IBD. So this is what we're going to do. We just say furniture and fittings. Just copy furniture and fittings. Sorry. It will be long. So let me just write furniture. Furniture and fittings. Furniture and fittings. Yeah, so this furniture and fittings, Then it will be under class 2. It will be under class 2. So classified under class 2. And we were told that it was also part, some furniture which cost 550 were used for workplace. So I'll take 1550, which is the total amount for the furniture, and I subtract the 550. So this is what I will do. Sorry. Yeah, this is what I'll do. I'll create a bracket here. Let's take 1550 is the total cost for furniture and fittings. Then I subtract the 550 for workplace. Then I multiply this by 10%. So I'll get 100. So I'll go to the next item and I can see, let me just move this here. Yeah, so we'll go to the next item under the additional information. So the next item will be library fixtures. So I'll write library fixtures. And library fixtures, the amount was how much? That's also under class 2. Yeah, that's also under class 2. So the amount was 1200. This is what I will do. Just say equals to, then I pick the amount for the library, 1200. Yeah, then I'll multiply by the 10%. Multiply by the 10%. I'll multiply that by 10%. Go to the next item. Next item, just follow this. The next item will be computers and electronic adding machines. So I'll just say computers. And this is under class 1. It's class 1. So I'll check the amount. They are allowed to move the, yeah, and that one will be times 25%. Then I'll go to the next one. Next item after computer is motor vehicle. So I'll write motor vehicle. And we are told motor vehicle a second and BMW at 5750. So if you're told that is a BMW is a saloon car. So I'll just write motor vehicle. It's a saloon car. Saloon cars are restricted to 3 million, to the cost of 3 million. So just write motor vehicle. And then you can say restricted to 3 million. The cost should be 3 million. So motor vehicle, they're under class 1. So what we'll do, I just write here 3 million, which is 3,000, because we're using these values in thousands. Yeah, so instead of using the 57, the amount which you are given as 57, 5750, you use 3,000, because they are restricted to 3,000. So I'll go to the next item, which is a lorry. There's a lorry, and we are told it's 4 tons. So lorry, whether below 3 or above 3, will fall under the first class. Sorry, so this one, sorry. This one, I was supposed to multiply that 3,000 by, so I just say equals to 3,000 times the 25%. So I'll get 750. So I'll come here and the lorry was how much? So the load here was 7,000. So I take the 7,000 and then I multiply by 25%, 5%. Then we go to the next item. So the lorry will have tuk-tuk. Yeah, we'll have tuk-tuk. This tuk-tuk for the messenger. So I just write tuk-tuk. Yeah, it's for office use. So this also form is also part of the first class. So I take the amount of tuk-tuk, which is 450. Then you multiply this by the rate for the first class, it is 25%. The next item will be the backhaul loader. So I'll just copy it, backhaul loader. Backhaul loader. Yeah, this also is in first class. So in first class. So we'll check the amount with this one here. Then we will multiply by 25%. Multiply by 25%. Then the other item will be, this additional, we have already captured it, mobile crane. Yeah, mobile crane. So just copy it. Then the amount will be equals to so I'll multiply that by 25%. So 20%. Yeah, and that's all. That's all for wear and tear allowance. So I'll sum up. We'll sum up this. So I just drag all the then let me see if I drag it will copy. So when I drag it, copy this. So under wear and tear, the totals will be, I'll say wear and tear allowance. Allowance will be equals to the sum of these two. So I'll take that plus this. Let me bold it. Yeah, then I'll also add this. Yeah, this was the IDD. So I'm just equals to sum. Just sum this. And I'll bold it also. So we have ID as 38,175, IDD 667.5, and we until 11, it's 622. So this is how we were supposed to do this equation. This is how we are supposed to do these equations, and then we will have 20 minutes. So thank you so much for the time, and please subscribe to my YouTube channels so that when I do a presentation or I do a question, you'll be able to be notified. Thank you and have a blessed day.